All right, so we were gonna do a fancy intro, but here's the intro. I got Marcus Miller. We're at the Casa de Miller. How long have you had this place?
We moved in 2013, so we're at like 6 years.
And this is like deep in the woods. Oh, that's strong. That's strong. Obviously, we drove today.
You said you take your whiskey neat.
Yeah. So, this is how all bench racing starts, right? With a nice glass of whiskey or some beer, and that's pretty much what we're here to do today.
Perfect.
So,
Perfect.
You know, I don't want to bring up a sore subject, but probably this year is not Hambletonian hopeful. Which, listen, there's hundreds of other races for you to win, so you're not too upset about that, right? But you never know; something could pop up.
Yeah, you never know. I mean, it's still a couple months away, but don't have high hopes yet.
So we're here to talk about Hambletonian Day, the Oaks, the maturity, the Hambletonian itself. That's kind of what we're here to do. So what's your first Hambletonian memory? Just first thing that I say Hambletonian, what pops up?
First memory, the first one I attended was when Chip Chip Hooray won.
Live at the Meadowlands.
Yeah.
Okay.
I was at the Meadowlands.
Okay, how old were you?
I was probably 13ish.
Okay.
Right. But the first memory has got to be classic photo, getting beat by Vivid Photo. That was the next year, a couple years later, but that's probably what pops in my brain first.
Okay, so you were 13. Was that the first time at the Meadowlands, or?
Yeah, I think it was.
And now at that time you were probably still living out east or in the Midwest, right? Chicago.
Yeah, we still
area?
lived in Springfield.
Okay.
Yeah, in Central Illinois. Yep.
So first time coming out east and going to the big track?
Yeah, pretty much.
Did the Meadowlands kind of wow you the first time you?
Oh,
maybe?
Absolutely. The old grandstand was so big.
Yeah.
You know, it was like ginormous, and it was completely packed, and I was a little bit shorter than I am now, and yeah, it was awesome.
You were 13. Awesome. Were you like teenager? Like, I don't care. My dad's a trainer. I don't care about these stupid horses. I just want to, go play in the bounty house or whatever 13-year-old kids do. Try to sneak a beer from somebody, right?
No, I think I was just old enough to appreciate what was going on. I just got into the horses like seriously. No, I don't know seriously when you're 13.
Yeah.
But I was going to the barn and stuff at that time.
So a couple years later, now, did you watch the next year within or were you just like, whatever, I'm 14, 15?
No, I watched all the time. And then actually, from when I was 16 on, I pretty much listened to the Hambletonian on the radio.
Okay.
Because the same day, the first Saturday in May, was, if he's bothering.
This is Track. No, it's okay. He wants to give his Hambletonian opinions too. That's fine, Track.
The same day was the Downstate Classic for 2-year-olds at the Lincoln County Fair, always.
In Illinois?
In Illinois.
Okay.
Yeah, so I would listen to the Hambletonian on the radio from my truck.
Okay.
After driving at that fair.
How is that? Like, I don't think I've really listened to a race. I mean, we used to call up like the dial-a-bet things, like, when my dad would race, you'd call up and you'd hear like the stretch call. Was that kind of the same thing where you're just listening live to like a radio show?
Yeah, it would be on Sirius XM most of the time. Yeah.
And that did it for you, or no?
Well, I'd always have to come back and watch the replay.
Okay.
Yeah, but it was enough to like you weren't in suspense, you knew who won.
Now, Vivid Photo was your was that the first time you really were there and got a chance to?
Well, that was that same year was Classic Photo of my dad's, who was I think actually the favorite going into the final.
Okay, yes.
So that was like a pretty emotional day because he wound up second, but yeah, that was when we had the most invested in the race anyway.
Okay.
It seemed like at that point, like it was our big shot at it right then.
So were you mad when where did Classic Photo finish?
If I'm remembering right, he was second.
Okay.
We should watch the replay.
Let's watch the replay then.
Sorry, we locked out.
Hold on.
There we go.
Yeah, we're locked out. All right, so let's watch. The first one. That's kind of what we're gonna do here. We're gonna watch some of the older ones, go back, and because a lot of things are different, a lot of things are the same. I think you'll kind of agree with that. So there's Vivid Photo, 2005.
Yep, Roger Hammer.
Roger Hammer. Was that your dad's first Hambletonian I mean, he's got a big stable. He's had a 100-horse stable for 200 years, it seems like.
I think this was his first Hambletonian starter.
First Hambletonian starter?
I think so.
Okay.
Yeah.
Were you involved with the horse at all, or the stable
No,
at that time?
So, I was going to the barn, but in 2005 I would have been still only 14.
Okay.
But what I do remember is everybody before the race was saying Roger Hammer's going to go down the road. That's what Roger Hammer does.
Right. And I think he kind of threw the wrench in the saddle, right?
Yeah, he messed everybody up and ducked his horse.
Where's the volume here? Come on. What? Oh, we do it on the side. All right.
You're the tech guy.
I know. All right. So here we go. He didn't leave. Where's your dad's horse here?
Ron Pierce.
Ron Pierce is driving. So he's following Pierce.
Yeah, yep. I haven't watched this since it happened, it seems like.
Are you glued to Pierce right now? Or are you looking at the winner as a kid?
As a kid? Or right now?
No, like as a kid. Do you remember what?
Oh no, I was glued to Pierce. We
Okay.
were just watching him. But I'm pretty sure if my memory is right, we were standing like down in the open paddock area. So I was probably watching it on the jumbotron.
On the big screen.
Yeah.
Okay. So now nobody's moving. You're like, go, just go, just
I think
go.
at that time I didn't know enough to even I was just watching, no coaching, watching and screaming.
Okay, so right now you're screaming. I'm sure Hannah's with you. Your mom's, or was your mom with you guys?
Yeah, the whole family was there.
So everybody's
for sure.
screaming, go! And now he's getting in gear.
So he's second over, right?
Second over, yep.
Two legs to Mr. Dreamo in. The half was 55, so a breather of 28 seconds there for Strong Yankee. Strong Yankee looking pretty strong.
Isn't it crazy?
there on
Like
the
a half
far
and
turn.
55. That's what the 2-year-olds go now.
I know. There he goes. 3 wide. Go!
And Hammer just drove his horse perfect.
Perfectly.
Perfect.
Are you looking at Hammer here? Or no, you don't even see him at this point?
Well, right now it looks like we're a winner right here.
You're yelling, screaming,
And then-
cheering.
And then
the hammer
falls.
The hammer. And the greatest call.
That is a good one.
I mean, you know,
It hurts a little bit again.
It hurts. It does hurt. Now you finished second. So as a kid and as a fan, you're like, if you ain't first, you're last. You're Ricky Bobby, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Your dad, as a businessman, as a stable manager, as an owner, as a trainer, is probably like, you know what? And that was the first year, I believe, that it was 1.5 million.
Oh, really? Was
Yes.
it really?
That was the first year that it went up, or the last year. One of them. So that was a good check. That was for second place.
Yeah.
So I'm sure your dad, I mean, he doesn't show much emotion. I'm sure your dad was upset for like 3 seconds, and then he's like, I'll take second. Second's still pretty good.
Yeah.
Like that night, was he upset? Was he happy?
You know what? I don't even remember that part. I don't know. That's a good question.
That's a good question.
Yeah. I was too young to even remember.
Were you able to enjoy the rest of the day?
Yeah, it was a ton of fun. I know that. That's for sure. But yeah, it's pretty hazy.
Do you remember at all, like, your dad that morning or your parents that morning? Like, were they upset, nervous? Were they?
I think
amped?
it was one of those things where it was like you can't complain because you're second in the Hambo, but going in, like, we thought we had a real big shot to win. You
Right.
know? And the horse race good. The drive was good. It was just one of the.
It is what it is,
Yeah, it
right?
was Hammer's Day.
It was Hammer's Day, and like you said, perfect drive.
Yep.
You know.
Yep.
That was back in 2005. That's 14 years ago.
Yeah.
I mean, like one of the first things you said was half and 55. That's what the 2-year-olds go. What do you think has been the biggest change from watching that to, the last couple years of the Hambletonian? Obviously they didn't do that. We're back to
the
heats,
right?
but now we're going back to not heats.
Is that that's
next
not
year?
Okay.
This is the last year of
this
heats.
year's still heats.
So what in the last 15 years, what do you think has changed, or some similarities you see just watching that race?
Well, Hammer's way older.
Hammer's way old. Yeah. He was old then. How old was he then? Yeah. He's real sleepy. This is the best time.
He's just very blonde.
The best time to have kids is right now when they're sleepy and quiet, and they're gonna go right to sleep.
Hey, Track, get out of here.
There we go. Oh, there he goes. He wants
What
to
do you
say.
think, bud? Do you have
There we
anything
go.
to say?
He does look sleepy, so we're gonna pause right here, and he's gonna go to bed. So wave to the camera. In 25 years, we may be talking about you as a Hambletonian champion. Yeah?
What do you think?
Do we high five yet? No?
Sometimes.
No, sometimes. All right, he's clearly tired. Marcus is gonna put him to bed. All right, kids in bed. Now we can. Now the men can get back to business. So, what were we talking about? I don't even know what we were talking about. The Hambletonian. That's what we're talking about.
Yeah.
So
I think that's the focus of the whole thing.
Has there been a Hambletonian over the last 10 years? Because now you're in it. Now you got to watch it. It's a dream, like you said. But it's also a business. You have to watch and know all these drivers and trainers and horses. Because even though you may not have a physical start in it, you're gonna compete against these horses and the day card and all that stuff throughout the day. So, driving on Hambletonian Day. I mean, how many times have you driven on Hambletonian Day? How many winners?
I haven't won a race on Hambletonian Day yet.
Okay.
I've only a handful of times. A couple of starters. I had a bummer go in the Oaks with CBS for Andy. Made a break behind the gate.
Okay. Well, in the final?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, yep.
How did she do in the Olymps? Did you drive in the Olymps?
I think Andy drove her in the Olymps.
Okay.
And then he had a couple in. But I'd driven her before. And so that was a bummer.
She just made a break or driver error?
Yeah, I think a little of both. She wasn't the soundest at the time, and also I kind of under-anticipated how long the post parade would be, so I slowed her down a little bit early, and then all of a sudden I was like walking, waiting for the gate, and I think she kind of stiffened back up.
How many guys do you think have made that mistake? Because that's something that's like the Super Bowl. I mean, guys, they play and then they have a half hour of longer their halftime, and they, like you said, they almost stiffen back up, and it's tough to get back in game mode.
Yeah, it is one thing that seems crazy. It seems like there's a lot of horses that make a break in the Hambletonian or the Oaks, and you think well, these are the best 3-year-olds we've got. But I think part of that is everybody's pushing so hard, That's something that's never occurred to me, that guys warm up the horses so much, and then, like you said, they're trying to tune them in as much as possible, and I don't know, maybe that's why, maybe, who knows?
I mean, some guys...
It does seem like it happens, more often than you'd expect.
Some guys try to make that last-minute adjustment. It works. Sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes you win the Hamiltonian, and sometimes you don't, right? So, or the Oaks. What about some of the other... Do you have a race... Because there's every single division has a race, whether it's the 2-year-olds of Peter Houghton, the Delvin that's on the Peter Houghton, the Jim Doherty, I think it's called now, right? The 2-year-old trotting filly.
Yeah.
The Cashman, which is the open trot, and the Cane Pace, and the U.S. Pace, the Sam McKee Memorial, and the Hambletonian, and the Oaks. And is there a race that you watch that you particularly like, and is it because of the division, or are you just kind of...
I know growing up it was always the pacing colts, like the 3-year-old pacing colts and stuff leading up, because they would always go so fast.
And now that
so that was just fun. It was like, who's going to go in 47 today?
What did that used to be called? It was like the because right now it's the Cane Pace, but the Cane Pace has only been there, and that's kind of good that we have mostly all the signature events: Triple Crown trotting, Triple Crown of pacing. It was Oliver Wendell Holmes, I think.
Yeah, something like that. Yep.
It's fun to see those 3-year-olds really, because that's one of the few times where they could just all out.
Yeah, exactly.
Out in the sun and just
it's
roll.
Middle of the afternoon. It's usually hot. They just go.